Hi, we're going to talk to you now about your sixth grade student who is in the gifted program here at Trickham Middle School. I am Miss Thiers. I'm Lindsay Thiers. I teach seventh grade gifted language arts, and I'm the gifted department chair. We also work with Miss McDonald, who is the gifted assistant principal and the sixth grade assistant principal.
And I'm Lindsay Harden, and I also teach seventh grade language arts, and I am the gifted testing coordinator. So we'll start with kind of what are the classes going to look like that your student's going to be in next year. So currently we have 3 teams down in sixth grade that are all gifted certified teachers. And your students' gifted classes will take place during the normal academic time period. We don't use a pull-out model, so they'll spend their gifted time in a gifted math, science, social studies, and language arts class.
One of the questions we're often asked is, what is gifted? We follow the same AKS as the other subjects, so that students in the gifted program don't necessarily have separate AKS. We do a lot of project-based learning. We really focus on extending and enriching the curriculum because a lot of our students have often mastered the AKS early on. So we look at how can we really delve into their critical thinking skills and allow them really to show their creativity. And we structure our classes around those high depth of knowledge questions and make sure that we are really enriching and extending that curriculum for them.
And we do that through a variety of activities. We'll do cross-curricular studies. We'll look at real-world data situations. Collaboration is huge, especially this year with our digital platforms. Novels, labs, simulations in science, and of course, researching technology and the reflections that we ask our students to complete.
So when your student comes to Trickham, he or she will be placed in one of 2 math classes. It'll either be a standard math class, which will cover all of the 6th grade AKS, or an accelerated math class, which covers the 6th grade AKS as well as half of the 7th grade AKS. Any gifted student can be in either of those classes. So it has nothing to do with gifted eligibility or anything like that. We do look at placement in terms of a lot of data from 5th grade. We look at COGAT, ITBS, we look at grades, teacher recommendations. And I know this is an unusual year in which some kids took COGAT and ITBS, but we're figuring all that out. So we will be your student will be placed at the beginning in one of those 2 math classes. However, it has nothing to do with gifted eligibility. It's just strictly based on student strength in math.
We also offer a variety of extracurricular opportunities for your 6th grader as they're starting here at Trickham Middle School. So they can join the Readers Rally Club, academic team, Odyssey of the Mind, math counts. Our band, orchestra, chorus, and guitar programs are fabulous. And we also have Junior Beta, which students can be invited to in 7th grade based on their 6th grade academic performance.
Another thing we wanted to talk about is how to help your student be successful once they transition to middle school, because it is a big adjustment. We really want to encourage your student to figure out some time management skills and some organization, what works best for them in terms of like the agenda, looking at e-class, planning for those short and long-term assignments. E-class is great to look at the calendar and kind of figure out when assignments need to be completed. We also want to make sure you're looking at the parent portal, at their agenda, checking e-class, and just making sure all those assignments are getting completed now that they're taking on like 6 different classes throughout the day, and also figuring out their study habits. They need to figure out if they do better when they're reviewing, or if they're going back and looking at notes or teacher examples, and figuring out really how they make sure they're reviewing the material.
But we also recognize that sometimes students struggle in this a movement up to middle school. So we do also have what's called a plan of improvement. So students in the gifted program are expected to maintain a 74 average in each of their classes every 9 weeks. Sometimes students' grades drop below that for a variety of reasons. And at that point, we would call together a conference with the teachers and the parents and the student to discuss some ideas and options to help them be more successful. So students would be on this plan of improvement for 9 weeks in the hopes that the interventions we put in place would help raise their grade to a 74. And if the grade doesn't improve, then sometimes it could ultimately end with the student being removed from that gifted class, but not the gifted program, just that specific class for that subject.
So another question we want to make sure we answer is, what is happening if your child is moving into the Parkview cluster from either another cluster within GCPS or somewhere else? So if your student is currently in Gwinnett County and coming from a different cluster, the eligibility transfers automatically. You don't need to do anything. It's already in our system, and your child will automatically receive a schedule with gifted classes on it once all the registration is complete. If your student is coming from a different county within Georgia, we have reciprocity with all the counties. And so once we receive the proper paperwork of your child's eligibility in the previous county, and we put that into our system, then the student can go ahead and receive a schedule with gifted classes. That is all dependent on when the paperwork arrives from the previous school. So hopefully it will happen quickly, but we are always, waiting on that other school to turn into the gifted eligibility form. Third, if your student's coming from out of state, we will start the gifted testing process usually in September to get the students certified and tested here in Georgia. We do not have reciprocity with other states. So your student will start over with the gifted testing process and have to become gifted, certified, tested through Georgia requirements.
So we know that that was a lot of information really, really fast. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to either of us. We look forward to working with you and your students next year and hope you all have a great summer.